Night has fallen upon Hogwarts Castle. The torches have long since guttered in the halls, leaving only the pale moonlight slanting through stained glass and the flicker of unseen movement. The portraits sleep in their frames, their eyes dimmed. The staircases, at last, are still. And yet, Hogwarts is never truly silent. Somewhere in those vast stone corridors, something stirs, a whisper of fabric, a faint glimmer of silver drifting in the dark. For within these walls, the dead do not rest easily. They wander, translucent and eternal, trapped between worlds. Their presence is as old as the castle itself. Echoes of lives once vibrant, now caught in a shimmering twilight between memory and oblivion. They are the ghosts of Hogwarts, witnesses to centuries of laughter, learning, and sorrow. And though they cannot die, neither can they truly live. Tonight, let us follow them through the shadowed corridors and moonlit hall, and uncover what binds a soul to this place of wonder and grief. Welcome to the Forgotten Mage. In the wizarding world, death is not the end. But neither is it simple. A ghost, as Dumbledore once told Harry, is the imprint of a departed soul left upon the earth. They are not the full person, merely a shadow, a copy, a faint echo of who they once were. Wizards who fear death more than they trust life may leave behind this pale remnant. It is a choice, though rarely a wise one. For a ghost is not a spirit freed. It is a soul denied passage. In the magical world, the boundary between life and death has always been perilously thin. The tale of the three brothers, told in the tales of Beedle the Bard, reminds us of wizards who sought to master death, only to find themselves mastered by it. The Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, the Invisibility Cloak, each symbolizing power, longing, and acceptance. Of these, only the third brother understood the truth, that death is not a curse to escape, but a journey to embrace. A ghost, then, is one who clings to the second brother's path, the soul unable to let go, bound not by chains, but by unfinished magic, unresolved guilt, or love too strong to fade. At Hogwarts, the dead have always lingered. Some say the castle itself calls to them, a living repository of magic and memory. And perhaps it does, for Hogwarts is not merely a school. It is a sentient, enchanted fortress, pulsing with centuries of emotion. Within its walls, the dead find not rest, but remembrance. The first of the castle's spectral denizens we encounter is perhaps its most famous and its most tragic in quiet ways. Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, better known to students as nearly Headless Nick, is the resident ghost of Gryffindor Tower. In life, he was a courtier of the late 15th century, a wizard of some standing, whose kindness was rivaled only by his clumsiness with charms. Legend has it that Nick attempted to beautify a lady-in-waiting by magically straightening her crooked teeth, but the spell went horribly wrong, leaving her with tusks. For this, poor Sir Nicholas was executed by axe on Halloween, 1492, but the axe was dull. 45 strokes were required before his head finally parted, and so, even in death, his wound never healed. Nearly Headless Nick is a portrait of polite dignity and gentle melancholy. He drifts through the Gryffindor common room with old-fashioned courtesy, offering advice to young lions who listen. Yet there is an ache beneath his manners, He longs to join the headless hunt, a ghostly cavalcade of decapitated spirits, but they reject him for being, as they cruelly say, not quite decapitated enough. Nick's story is the tragedy of one who died poorly and lived on awkwardly, neither truly headless nor whole. He represents the ghost's deepest irony. Their immortality is not a gift, but a mirror of the very imperfection they could never escape in life. High above the great hall, where moonlight spills through arched windows and dust dances in the beams, drifts the most elusive of Hogwarts ghosts, the Grey Lady, the spirit of Ravenclaw Tower. Her true name is Helena Ravenclaw, daughter of Rowena, one of the 4 founders of Hogwarts. Proud, brilliant, and burdened by her mother's shadow, Helena coveted the Diadem of Ravenclaw, a crown said to enhance the wisdom of its wearer. When her mother withheld it, Helena stole it and fled across the sea, believing she could outgrow the legacy she had inherited. But Rowena Ravenclaw fell ill. Desperate to see her daughter once more, she sent a man to find her, the one who loved Helena most, though she did not return his affection, the Bloody Baron. He found her hiding in a forest in Albania. When she refused to return, he killed her in rage. Then, overcome with remorse, he took his own life. Their blood stained the ground where they fell. Helena returned to Hogwarts as a ghost, shrouded in silence and sorrow. Her story remained untold for centuries until Harry Potter, seeking to defeat the new Dark Lord, earned her trust. She confessed that she had revealed the diadem's hiding place long ago, and that Tom Riddle had found it, twisting her mother's relic into a Horcrux. The Grey Lady is more than a ghost. She is the embodiment of regret turned eternal. Her story shows the destructive power of pride, and the way love and guilt can weave themselves into curses that echo across generations. She lingers not because she cannot move on, but because her legacy cannot be undone. Through her, we glimpse the sorrowful truth of ghosthood, that memory, when bound to pain, becomes its own form of imprisonment. The Bloody Baron haunts the dungeons and the Slytherin common room, a tall spectral figure clad in tattered robes, his chains clinking softly in the dark. His ghostly form is marred by stains of silver blood, forever marking his sin. In life, he was a man of noble birth and intense passion. Few remember his real name, for even in the records of Hogwarts, he is simply the Baron. But his story is inextricably bound to Helena Ravenclaw, for it was he who took her life. The Baron's haunting silence speaks louder than words. He rarely appears, but when he does, students fall quiet. Even Peeves, the castle's incorrigible poltergeist, fears him, and that perhaps tells us much about the weight of guilt the Baron carries. Of all Hogwarts ghosts, he alone seems to understand the full measure of his punishment. His chains are self-imposed. His haunting is his penance. He stays not to frighten, but to remember and to suffer. There is a certain holiness to his torment. Like an old monk in perpetual repentance, he cannot undo the past, yet he refuses to abandon it. His presence reminds Slytherin House that ambition, left unchecked by compassion, becomes destruction. In him, we find the mirror image of Voldemort, another who sought control, another who could not bear the limits of love. But unlike Voldemort, the Baron's remorse is real. His eternity is not an escape from death, but a surrender to its judgment. If the Baron is the darkest of Hogwarts shades, the Fat Friar is its warmest. He is the ghost of Hufflepuff House, and perhaps the only one who seems, in his own way, content. In life, he was a kind-hearted monk who used his magic to heal the sick and feed the poor. But his generosity was his undoing. When he began curing villagers of the pox, using spells and conjuring food from thin air, his superiors grew suspicious. They accused him of heresy, and he was executed by the very church he served. Yet in death, the Fat Friar's laughter remains gentle, his nature forgiving. He greets Hufflepuff students with cheer, guiding them toward fairness and friendship. He is proof that even a ghost can find light amid loss, that goodness, unlike the body, does not perish. And yet, his choice to remain hints at something deeper, a lingering affection for the living. He stays not from fear of death, but from love of company. Perhaps this is why the castle itself accepts him so warmly. The Fat Friar represents the best of humanity's ghosts, one who stays not because he must, but because he wishes to help those who come after. Across its 1,000 years, Hogwarts has seen countless deaths, students lost to time, wars, and folly. But only a few become ghosts. Why? Because only those who fear death, or who cannot let go, remain. It is an act of will, a spell of the soul. Even Dumbledore once explained that the dead who linger are diminished. They cannot feel, grow, or change. They are echoes, voices preserved in stone corridors, lessons trapped in eternal repetition. Yet Hogwarts is a place where memory itself has power. The castle remembers. Every portrait, every whisper in the wall, every shifting stair holds remnants of those who lived here. Magic, after all, is the art of making memory tangible. And so the ghosts are part of the castle's living consciousness, not intruders, but threads in its enchanted fabric. Their presence ensures that Hogwarts is not merely a school of spells, but a sanctuary of remembrance. When students pass through its halls, they are never truly alone. The past walks beside them, teaching, watching, forgiving. Yet even in this harmony, there lies unease. For to be a ghost is to exist in perpetual twilight, to see life continue while remaining frozen in place. One might ask, is there any hope for release? Can a ghost ever move on? The answer is uncertain. There are no recorded cases of a ghost dying again. They are imprints, not souls, and imprints cannot depart. But perhaps, if the soul that made them finds peace beyond the veil, the echo might one day fade, absorbed back into the greater current of the world. In the department of mysteries, the veil that separates the living from the dead whispers with unseen voices. Some believe it calls to ghosts as well, though they cannot hear it. They dwell too close to the mortal plane, unable to cross. Theirs is the ultimate lesson of wizard kind. Power over death is never true power at all. And so, what are ghosts for? Why does magic allow them to exist? Perhaps they serve as warnings, mirrors held up to the living. Each ghost of Hogwarts embodies a moral truth. Nick, the futility of vanity and the pain of an imperfect end. Helena, the tragedy of pride and the cost of secrecy. The Baron, the devastation of ungoverned passion. The Friar, the quiet grace of compassion that endures beyond death. They are, in a way, the four memento mori of the school, one for each house. Constant reminders that courage, wisdom, ambition, and kindness all have shadows, and that the measure of one's soul lies not in mastery of magic, but in acceptance of mortality. If you could ask one of Hogwarts' ghosts a single question, anything at all, who would you choose and what would you ask? Would you seek Helena's forgiveness, the Baron's secret, Nick's advice? Or would you ask the friar what lies beyond? Share your thoughts below, and let us see whose story calls most strongly to you. As dawn breaks over the highlands, the ghosts of Hogwarts retreat into shadow. The Grey Lady vanishes into the rafters of Ravenclaw Tower. The Baron fades into the chill of the dungeon walls. The friar glides softly through the Hufflepuff cellar, blessing the sleeping students with his eternal smile, and in Gryffindor Tower, Sir Nicholas hovers by the window, watching the sunrise. The light passes through him like memory through mist. He sighs, wistful, resigned, and disappears. The castle awakens. Footsteps echo. Laughter returns. And still the air hums with presence. For Hogwarts is more than stone and spell. It is a bridge between worlds, a place where learning is eternal and memory is magic itself. Its ghosts are not prisoners, but guardians of its past. They remind the living that courage is not found in clinging to life, but in letting it go. In the end, perhaps that is why Hogwarts endures, because it does not forget, because it remembers. Every joy, every loss, every lesson, because even the dead have found a home here. In every flicker of candlelight in the great hall, in every whisper along the staircases, the ghosts of Hogwarts remain. They are the breath of history, the conscience of magic, the eternal echo of those who loved too much, feared too deeply, or hoped too long. And as the years pass, new generations will walk those same halls, laughing where others once wept, daring where others once faltered, watched by unseen eyes that remember everything. For in Hogwarts, death is not an ending. It is a continuation, a different kind of magic, one born from memory, bound by love, and illuminated by the eternal light of the past.